This is Working for Progress, a podcast that connects us through conversations about how we craft our working lives and make progress. We'll be joined by our communities from Tribe Porty and Keystone. Tribe Porty is a community co-working space and creative hub. We are full of entrepreneurs, social enterprises, freelancers, charities and SMEs. Keystone is the other social enterprise which supports women to reimagine their working lives. We do this by providing a holistic approach to business through courses, programs, mentoring, group coaching and events.
Welcome to today's conversation. I'm Alice, the Community Manager at Tribe Porty.
And I'm Dani, Founder and Director of both Tribe Porty and Keystone.
Here at Working for Progress, we're all about connecting good people, sharing their stories, their challenges, and the progress they make for themselves and for others. We hope this podcast challenges your ways of thinking and inspires you to work for progress.
Working for Progress starts with simple pleasures, finishes in awe, and meanders through career journeys in between. Joining us today is artist Peter Jones. Peter has had a studio based at Tribe for many years now and works mainly in watercolour. Peter's interests include buildings and place and has published a series of books that celebrates the built environments of Scottish towns. Welcome, Peter. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming next door, rather.
Right.
We'll start out nice and easy. Please share your 5 simple pleasures.
Okay, well, I like a dip in the sea. Not that frequently, but yeah, that's definitely one. Tea in the morning, first thing at the weekend. That would be another. And yeah, just getting my sketchbook out. Not for any particular reason or project, but just that kind of time to do a bit of drawing. That's 3, isn't it?
That's 3.
Yeah.
I mean, no pressure to you.
Yeah. I love a run. Like to go for a run. And lying on a beach. It's good. Lying on a beach. Yeah, that has to be.
Porty Beach? Or are we talking about a beach full of sunshine and?
Probably not Porty
Yeah.
Beach.
It's much better for a cold water swim than a sunshine.
Yeah.
Brilliant, great. So we would love to hear more about your work, what you're working on today. I know you do a variety of things, so just an outline of day to day, what you're involved with.
Okay, so I've got an exhibition coming up in Falkland from the end of November through to just before Christmas, and so that's some new work for me, drawings in charcoal and watercolour paintings of trees.
Oh, cool. And is that something that you put together, or how have you come to get an exhibition?
Yeah, well, it's it came about because 4 years ago I made a book of paintings of Falkland village, the buildings in the village, and that culminated in an exhibition in a gallery in Falkland, with a book launch. So I've just kept in contact, and then they've offered me the chance to exhibit again.
Nice.
in the gallery, so that's nice. Yeah.
And you do that full time?
No,
No.
I work on my art 2 days a week, and the other 3 days I work for a charity called Inspiring Scotland, and I support the chief executive and the senior leadership team. And I do a whole load of
a mix of
different
things.
stuff. Yeah. So
how long have you been with Inspiring Scotland?
Since 2008.
Okay, a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing! I didn't realise that actually. Speaking of that, kind of how you construct your work, your weekly work, 2 days with your art and 3 days through the charity. How do your values? First of all, what are your core values, and how do they then show up in the work that you do?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this. It's a very difficult question to sort of, it's not something I've often thought about, but definitely loyalty is one of them. And so I've been with the charity for 15 plus years, and some of that has been. It's worked for me, I started working there full time, and then I was gradually able to reduce my hours so that I could do more with my art. But there's definitely something in there about loyalty and the people that I support, and so that's really important to me. Also with the art as well, you know, and some of my closest friends in arts are people like the gallery owner. I don't exhibit in a lot of galleries, but the one that I've worked with since 2000 in Kirkcudbright, the High Street Gallery, there's definitely that, I think, on both sides, that loyalty, and I find that incredibly rewarding to hold on to that.
That's lovely. No, it's okay. Have you got more values you want to talk about?
Well, I guess another one was perseverance, and I suppose it's a sort of related thing, but I think I've only got to where I am now because I persevered, you know, and there were lots of times when, you know, if you'd taken a step back objectively, I might have thought, you know, what are you doing, you know, and this needs to be going better. But I've found that perseverance, when you're holding on to what you're trying to do and your belief in doing that, that's helped me, you know, sometimes with hindsight. But.
And are you talking about loyalty and perseverance to yourself through your creative work at all?
Yeah, and to the work that you're doing. Yeah, and sometimes that connects you with the people you're working with, and how that fits into to their priorities as well. So yeah. So
for you, it's not just about the making, the creating of the artwork, but it's the connections that it provides with people that you're working with? Yeah, definitely, I would say that. And going back to your earlier question about what I'm working on just now, one of the other things that I've been developing over the last 3 or 4 years is workshops, whether it's working with, there's a Craigmillar Art Club where I got involved around the time of the pandemic, and then I worked with them on a book of paintings of Craigmillar buildings, and that's been a really enriching and rewarding development in my work, and more recently with Bipolar Edinburgh, and that so that's been a series of workshops at the National Museum. Oh wow!
And really people who, obviously at different stages on their journey, who are interested to try out something like that, and we all share this experience of bipolar, which I also have, and that has been really, really fantastic. You know, so there, it's kind of, there's been a kind of coming together of what I wanted to do and what was useful to other people and to that organisation.
Is that a new relationship, the Bipolar Edinburgh?
Yeah, relatively new. It's been a really interesting one, and I suppose here we're sort of veering slightly off the topic of work.
That's fine.
But you know, I got a bipolar diagnosis sort of relatively late on, you know, in my early 30s, and until you know, that's something that really is well managed, and you know, I, on the whole, it's not a problem in my life now. But I had an appointment, just a routine appointment with a consultant, and I said, look, you know, I've been on this journey, and I'd love to you know, give something back, you know, and maybe, you know, what do you suggest? So they put me in contact with Bipolar Edinburgh, and then I was able to give a talk, and it was kind of loads of some of my artwork and just different things about how I'd progressed through that. And that's how the connection came about. And at the end of that evening, somebody asked me about, you know, they said, well, you know, when I was in hospital, one of the things that made the biggest difference to me was this art therapy session that I signed up to, and so he described this to me and he said, I just think it'd be great if we could do something like that. And so it's not art therapy, but it is. What's really interesting, and what's been really interesting for me as well, is we meet up at the museum every week, and it's a 6-week each series, and we do this drawing. So it's all about the drawing and the sketching, and then at the end for half an hour we meet in the cafe, and that's really to share what we've done, the sketches together. But what's actually happened is people, inevitably you talk about your shared experience, and it's been good.
Wow. So are you leading those sessions or participating?
Leading.
That's
certainly
amazing.
the art side of it, and I think there's some. Yeah, it just kind of works having that as the reason rather than this is a peer support group.
Sure, that's why you come together. That's amazing. And anybody can join? If people are interested, is that something that anybody can join? Yeah. And it's block sessions for 6 weeks, is that what you said?
Yeah, well, it's at the moment it's kind of, some people are coming back for a second series, and it's free to newcomers, and the people that are coming back are contributing a little bit to the session.
And what does that do for you in terms of what it gives back to you?
Well, I love it, and I want to do more of that if I can. It's pretty exhausting. Yeah. That's something, and chatting to somebody else I met who's done similar kinds of work, you have to be careful not to kind of lose your own creative practice in the midst of all that, because that was something I wasn't expecting, just how much it takes out of you, which I should have known because my wife's a teacher. But
it's that management part, isn't it, though, that we all have to do. Yeah. That's amazing. That's really nice to hear. I didn't know that you were doing that. Kind of on the topic of your working life journey, do you have a most random or worst job you ever had to do to date?
I've got a pretty random one.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I've done quite a few, thankfully not so many of these recently, but quite a few temp jobs, filling in around trying to be an artist, and probably the most random one was I removed staples from documents for 12 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
in a room with I don't know, it was 8 or 10 of us. So there you go.
That's fun.
But did you have a staple remover at least? You're not doing it with your fingernails?
No, I had a staple remover, yeah.
Did you have headphones?
We were allowed a radio after a couple of weeks.
Oh my goodness. What did you learn from that experience?
Well, in all these jobs, the most interesting bit is who you meet, and so I met some people at different stages, and so I definitely enjoyed that. And
you're really trying hard to
like a Zen kind of staple removal.
You still have that on your CV. Have you always been an artist? Did you have a sense as a young boy that's what you were, you wanted to do? Yeah, no,
always, yeah. And I don't know, I didn't go to art school because I just thought, I'm a watercolorist. I'm gonna drown in that place.
Yes.
But it's what I always wanted to do.
And you've managed to retain that, what it gives to you. I think it becomes tricky when you use it as an income stream. Have you managed to balance that creative outlet with a career?
Yeah, I think I've been really lucky because a good few years ago now, I guess 10 years ago, I sort of stumbled on painting buildings, and it was actually Maureen at the High Street Gallery and her late partner who was saying, nobody's painting Kirkcudbright, the town. You know, everyone does the landscapes, and why don't you do that? So I started doing that, and that's how I kind of came into doing these books that I've done. And the first one was of Kirkcudbright, and I did 2 exhibitions there, and I've never had 2 more successful exhibitions, and I had tons of commissions off the back of them, and I never really expected it to be like that. And I just found that doing these house portraits, which was it's a central pillar of what I do, and I always used to think, well, it buys me the time to do what I want to do, and it still does, but I just love doing them, you know. So I'm very lucky, you know, and it wasn't something I worked out or.
That's amazing. And what's the connection to Kirkcudbright?
Well, that's where my mum's family are from.
Okay.
And there's a lot of artists associated with Kirkcudbright going way back, and so I always kind of had an attachment to that. And it's kind of, I grew up in Newcastle, which I also love, but I have no connections there now apart from a couple of friends. And Kirkcudbright's really been like, that's kind of like home. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Lovely. So that is your bread and butter, but also you love doing them. So it's not that you have to do that to then have money and more time to do the things you really want to do. That's a nice way of...
Yeah. Well, I hate doing like boring bungalows, you know, on the edge of Inverness or Aberdeen or something. No offence to these places, but every now and then you get one and you think, how am I going to do this?
This is not my muse.
I love it. Do you have a biggest risk that you took in terms of your working life when you jumped ship, or what felt like a big risk to take at the time?
Yeah. Well, I thought about this. There's probably a couple, and the first one, in some ways, it wasn't that much of a risk, because it was when I graduated from uni and I went to Paris with some vague idea that I might be able to be an artist, you know, but it was calculated in the sense that I thought, well, nobody knows me there, you know, if it doesn't work out, it will still be fun. And but I suppose it was a risk because I was already sort of turning my back on, you know, some of the very attractive sounding, you know, management training programs,
of the safer options.
And I can remember sitting on buses in Paris in the first few months and like thinking, what are you doing? You know, you could be sitting down somewhere with, I don't know who I was thinking of, but eventually, you know, I realised that, well, it was a really great experience. So that was one, and the other one was less successful actually, because I was working for Scottish Field magazine as an assistant designer, and it wasn't a very happy place to work, although the job itself was really great. And so I was desperate to do more art, so I just quit my job, and that one I wouldn't recommend.
But you did it, and you might have been stuck there and denied your creative self as well.
Yeah, no, probably in the grand scheme of things, I would probably wouldn't
recommend
change it.
Still.
Yeah.
How long were you in Paris for?
2 years.
Oh wow! So was that like age 20 something?
20, 23, 25. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You enjoy it?
I loved it.
How's your French?
Well, I was studying French at uni, so I suppose that was part of the reason as well. Is that, you know, I just wanted to get through uni, so I somehow managed to avoid going off to Grenoble for a year or something like that, and you know, I decided to do it after I'd finished uni instead.
And what was the art experience in Paris for you?
Well, I suppose the great thing about France and Paris in particular is that they love an artist. You know, it doesn't matter what you're doing. So there's room for everyone, and there are loads of people doing that, you know, and so I found they also love people who can who are connected in some way with Scotland. So,
Okay.
but yeah, no, it's just it's a melting pot, and I mean, even just the exhibitions that I saw there, that, you know, of people like Mark Rothko and stuff like that, you might see them in London, I suppose, but probably not even as good. And there's just this amazing atmosphere and beautiful city, French culture.
Yeah. Were you working as well?
I had a few different jobs, but I managed to get a job working on a database at the International Chamber of Commerce. So that was quite nice as well, because I suppose, yeah, it's always been helpful having that kind of reality and structure, and that was the case then as well. It was 3 days a week, and I could swap around days and go away for 5 days sometimes, and yeah, it was brilliant.
So you figured out early on to have this kind of consistency and structure in your life, but also enough room for the freedom and the creative side that you wanted to attend to? I mean, it sounds like that. It's more of a question.
I think so. I mean, I'm always tempted, you know, even now, to think, I could do so much more if I had more time, you know. But I think going back to that other risk that I took, leaving a job, and I had, you know, I went back into work eventually, but I had a period of time when there wasn't any structure, and, you know, I had lots of ideas, and, you know, I wasn't short of drive and energy and all that, but actually, you know, it's interesting, the structure is important, you know. I know other artists who are full-time, and they create structure for themselves, because they know that without that, you know, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's too big sometimes.
Yeah.
There's too many options, and you just get overwhelmed and then paralyzed. Yeah. Amazing. Do you have a moment where you experienced flow or a state of awe that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, well, it's probably both,
cool.
Actually.
We'd love to hear them both.
It's quite recent, and I mean, I suppose like any creative person, you know, hopefully you experience flow not too infrequently.
Yes.
And so working on the exhibition of tree work up in Falkland, one of the places I've been going to is the Old Oak Wood, which is on the edge of Dalkeith Country Park, and I only discovered it 4 or 5 months ago. Somebody told me about it, and it's basically hundreds of oak trees. Some of, you know, they're hundreds of years old. These things, the original ones were planted by monks.
Wow, I don't know if I know about this place.
You've got to go. It's really, really special. Anyway, I went there one morning recently. I think it was late September, and it was just one of those lovely mornings. And you come away from the cafe and through the Go Ape thing, and then you sort of come around and there's a field, and then you see the first oak tree, and it was kind of, the sun was shining on it, and I mean, I don't know how old it was, a few 100 years old probably. So yeah, I almost feel myself there right now. You know, it's such a powerful sight and feeling as well. And then I didn't really know exactly which of these trees I was going to end up painting or drawing, so I just followed this path around, and then I came upon one where the sun was kind of catching the sort of middle section of the trunk, and it was almost seemed like it was orange, and then you just kind of that was the one, and you know that the sun's gonna be gone maybe 45 minutes later. It won't be doing that anymore, and so yeah, that's probably my favourite painting in the exhibition, and that was, and I do get that reasonably often, where, you know, you have to commit quite seriously at the start, and then you know, I suppose it happens a lot with the house portraits, because it's something I'm so kind of familiar with and practiced that, I guess, and then you just it just like you just follow your footsteps one after the other, and it's I just love it, you know, and it's, you don't want it to become like a formula, but it's satisfying, you know, because I can't describe it better than that, I don't think.
That's amazing. No, I think people do talk about kind of a formula for flow in terms of how to get there faster. And when you say commit, do you mean commit to really looking or really seeing? What do you mean by commit?
Well, there's a bit of that, but I mean, I get I feel fear every time I don't feel it in my sketchbook, but every time I start painting, I'm afraid, you know, because it's too complicated to explain. But yeah, I think that's quite common as well, you know, that blank page.
Oh, so you're committing to the drawing, the painting.
You know, there's been a lot of times when I've started a drawing and after 5 minutes, and I just think, no, it's either too kind of, it just lacks courage, you know. It's kind of, it's tentative, or it's a bit kind of off because you're nervous or whatever, and so that's what I mean by commit. You know, you have to kind of like, right, this is going to be a strong bit of work, and if I don't start in that way, it's not going to be strong.
I love that articulation of that. I think I know what you mean. I just don't think I've ever recognized it as fear, but it is fear. That makes total sense. Yeah, love it. Brilliant.
So when you were talking earlier about the staple job, and I'm not sure when this was, but you said it was when I was trying to be an artist. So I wanted to know, because I see you as an artist, what way back when you were trying to be an artist, what does that mean, and what makes you feel like an artist now? Like, was it an exchange of money? Is it assurance in yourself? Like, what is the formula to be an artist in your eyes?
That's a really good question.
I'm like, ooh, good question. What's the answer?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can remember when I came back from Paris, I found it really hard to tell people that I was an artist because I needed a job, you know, and I didn't feel like I had a lot to show for it, you know, which might sound ridiculous because I had exhibitions in Paris, you know, so why did I think that? I think there was something about the fact that I hadn't been to art college. I felt that I had to prove myself, and I suppose it's a weird thing. I've got quite a high opinion of what I'm capable of, which can be a drawback sometimes, and I think that's sometimes what I try and measure myself to, and so definitely in the early days, you know, I needed to have more to show for what I was doing, and money is a factor too. You know, it's you can't be an artist if you can't pay your bills. You know, it's a fact of life. So.
Amazing, brilliant. I love this chat, and I love talking about creativity and work and how that all fits together. We haven't had an artist yet on, so it's Anyways, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Well, thank you.
Cheers.
That was really nice. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. To hear more about Tribe Porty and Keystone, you can find us on all social media platforms. Please head over to our websites and subscribe to our newsletters, which includes monthly blogs to provide helpful insights into how we craft our work and life. This has been Working for Progress. We hope you join us again.